Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
Forever and ever.
Like the t-shirt.
Like the t-shirt. We still like each other.com.
/shop. What's up, baby?
Nothing much. How's it going? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. The week went by pretty fast.
The weekend too.
Had all types of ideas of how I was going to relax. And
you had a pretty relaxing day yesterday. Come on.
Well, to me, relaxing is like playing video games and not touching a dish.
We watch TV.
Yeah, watch the movie. Woman King. Recommend it. It's on Netflix. How's you?
So you didn't want to wash a dish? That's what you're upset about?
I'm not upset. Let's stop before people think we're arguing.
Okay, yeah. We got to have a happy episode this time before we get canceled.
You're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You're so handsome. I mean it. How was Woman King? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was cool. I had heard stories about, the trade of slaves by African nations as well. So,
they used to sell slaves, yeah.
So it was interesting to see that angle of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely dope. I was like, thank God for Netflix. I feel like we're in an age where these big movies are gonna be on streaming platforms sooner.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because I was really enjoying the whole straight to streaming when we were in the height of quarantine.
Yeah.
So now that they're trying to force us back to the theater, part of me wishes it was just I could enjoy it on my couch, because we have a pretty decent system here.
But there's something cool about the movies too. It's really big and it's loud and it gets really dark.
Yeah, and you're almost forced to focus, because when you're home, you could kind of, if it gets a little boring, you kind of scroll your phone. No one's really doing that in the theater. And
when we go to the movies, we usually get a babysitter for River. So when we watch movies at home, it's like he's here or it's after his bedtime. And then if it's after his bedtime, 9 out of 10, you're going to fall asleep. So
I don't know who I've become.
Yeah.
I've been like this since we met, right?
Yeah. That's why I never wanted to. We had a TV in our bedroom when we first got together. And then I was like, this is so unnecessary. This TV never gets turned on. And on the rare occasion it does, you fall asleep. It's totally pointless.
Yeah. I don't know. You think it's something medical?
No, you just like your rest.
Just tired.
You're not dozing off at dinner or randomly throughout the middle of the day.
We used to, and my father used to do that, because I remember we used to joke as kids, if the movie was really good, it because my dad stayed up the whole time. But most times you look over and he was knocked out.
Yeah. No, you don't fall asleep in the movie theater ever.
But my dad will. Till this day.
I just can't fall asleep anywhere. It takes a lot for me to fall asleep, even at night, even when I'm tired. So when people sleep on airplanes and buses and trains, I'm like, I wish. I just can't fall asleep.
Yeah, remember that time we were going to Hawaii and we're like, oh, we're going to stay up all night.
And then sleep on the plane.
We literally couldn't sleep.
So we broke night and then still couldn't sleep on the 10-hour flight. We were miserable.
Don't recommend. Just get your rest.
Yeah, 0 out of 10. All right. I wanted to, before we jumped into our topics, we had posted a Q&A on Instagram, ask us anything, but honestly, it's a little hard to keep up with social media sometimes, so we never responded. So I figured we answer a couple of questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so the first one that I have here is, what are y'all's opinions on dating apps? Have you ever used them?
I have used them for the sole purpose of hookups.
Okay.
I wasn't looking for love.
Okay.
I will put a disclaimer on this that I was also in a relationship at the time. So take that as you will.
Toxic as
very toxic. I did meet a few women.
I wonder if there's any women who feel why do you think you're different, Steph? The fact that you were in a relationship on dating apps or a plethora of other things we've been open about on this show. If people are Stephanie's an idiot, one day it'll be her.
I mean, I would hope that I've shown that I've changed and matured, and not only through, words, but my actions. Yeah. So I guess I could see it that way, but also we were just literally 15 minutes ago having a conversation about like, why do I love you? And the first thing that came to mind was how open and honest I feel like I've been with you from the jump, and it was something that really drew me to you like almost immediately. And not to shit on my ex, but it's just not something I felt.
But like, can you clarify, like, what do you mean open and honest in terms of like what? Like,
I jokingly said a few weeks ago, like, if you don't want Stephanie to know, don't tell me.
So you can like tell me anything.
I can tell you anything. Like, you're legit my best friend.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's something to that. I wish we had the perfect beginning. Yeah. But that's not our reality. And I think, we're better for it in a weird way. Like we've gone through the mud and we're still here. We're about to celebrate 7 years married, and there's no other place I'd rather be. So I know you always have this fear that I'm going to wake up and be in love with the mail lady, but I'm here to stay.
All right. Sorry for getting off track with the dating apps, but that just came to me. So yeah, how do you feel about people finding love on dating apps? I think it can work, definitely. I think you do have to filter through a lot of bullshit, unfortunately, on both sides. Like I said, that I was on there. My main goal was I'm looking for a hookup, not looking for love. But were you honest about that, or were you like I was just kind of talking. I don't feel like, at least, what year was this? Can't remember, 2014, maybe 2013. And it was just kind of like, hey, how are you? What you do? But did you have to have like a bio or something that said like what you were looking for? I don't recall having one. I think it was just like a picture, age. I was using Tinder early. Oh, so is Tinder like known that you're on here for hookups? I think it's become that way, but I think like anything, there's always going to be people who abuse the application, right? Like if you're on here to find Christian love, there's always going to be like that horny Christian that just wants to have sex. And just like Tinder, your goal is to date, but you could also just be looking for hookups. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I've never been on dating apps. Yeah, I feel like the most I've talked to on apps is like Instagram. Like technically Facebook. You and I got together because of Instagram. Like we met in person first, but the reason we reconnected was because I liked all of your pics and then you slid in my DM. So yeah, I've never used them. I think they can be helpful. I feel like if you're super busy, you're not going out, you're not meeting people, then we have to use technology and use the internet to meet people. Like I'm not against it. I am against people lying about their intentions. Like if you're strictly hooking up, like be honest about that. Or if you're in a relationship. Yes. Gross, Travis. So yeah, that's my opinion. And we know a few success stories. Yeah, we know a couple of couples that actually met on dating apps. So you never know. What can be considered too much alone time in a relationship? Considered too much alone time. Y'all know how I feel about alone time. What's that? Yeah, what is that? Listen, I know there are couples who do a lot of things without each other, whether it's, I don't know, some traveling, just kind of having like a self-care day, whether it be a spa or having lunch by yourself. I think that's cool, but I also think as intentional as you are to do those things for yourself, you should be just as intentional to do it with your partner. Okay. So I don't think there's quote unquote too much, but I think there has to be a healthy balance. Well, I guess there could be too much if after you subtract work, sleep, alone time, and there's not much time for your partner, then that's when it's too much. I also think you have to be compatible with the person you're with, right? So maybe there is a person who loves to travel a lot. You need to be with someone who has their own passion that doesn't involve you so that they don't feel left out alone. So it all comes down to compatibility. Like what might be too much in our relationship isn't too much in someone else's relationship. So it just depends. As long as you still like each other, because if you're if you're seeking this alone time because you don't like your partner, then that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah. Do you think that they're like, even those people that claim they're okay with it, eventually it can change and they're not as happy with the current setup of doing things separately?
Yeah. I think maybe it might have been in the Patreon episode, but we were talking about how what works for you right now may not work for you later. So you just have to communicate and check in, right? I think on Patreon it was revolving like married couples who decide to sleep in separate rooms because of kids, because of work schedules. And it's like, oh, it's working for us. Okay, for now, but maybe not in 6 months, maybe not in a year, maybe in 3 years. This is why y'all get a divorce, because y'all never had that intimacy at night. So just checking in. It might be okay for now and it might change. And open communication is the only thing that can help.
Do you feel like you would like more alone time?
I wouldn't like more alone time. I would like to just prioritize certain things a little bit more, like self-care things, like giving myself a pedicure or going to get a pedicure. I kind of like, my wax is once a month and I'm easy to like reschedule it. Like I'll go next week. My hair is a big thing. So I don't want alone time, but I want to just be more intentional about taking care of myself. Like you never miss a haircut. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to do that more, but I don't think it has anything to do with being away from you.
Yeah. And if I'm being honest, I never miss a haircut because I'm actually going into the office.
Yeah.
I probably would be more open to missing it if I was just working from
home full time.
Look how I looked during quarantine.
Well, you had no choice. There was no barbers open or anything.
I was just talking to my boy about that, how my first haircut was in the back of a car shop. After like when things were opening up, like he had to have a secret shop in a mechanic.
Your barber?
Yeah. So he's like, just walk into the car shop and go straight to the back, and there was like a room. Crazy.
What a time. All right. Next question. What advice do you have for long distance couples?
Never been in one.
Yeah.
I'm only just what I've observed. I think communication is going to be key. In terms of like what is acceptable behavior for like let's say me and you lived separately and you're like hitting the club every Saturday. Am I really okay with that? Because if I'm not, then that could be like all right, because
if y'all were living together, would you still be at the club every single weekend? Maybe you would, but then it depends.
Yeah. So I just think what's your threshold for, I don't know, your partner doing things without you, because that's going to be a big reality of long distance. You may be at home wanting to have a conversation and like, oh, I'm out with the boys. I'll call you later tonight. I love you.
And I also wonder, like, are all long distance couples, because for me in my head, I think like it's long distance for now. Like we happen to meet, fall in love. We live in 2 different states, but not for long. Like the goal of every long distance relationship in my head is like to eventually move closer together.
Or maybe it could be college.
Yeah, that too. Like maybe you're just away for a time, but that's different. But if you're like, I wonder, are there couples who just genuinely intend to live in 2 different states without wanting to come together?
Sometimes it's easier said than done. Financially, you have a steady job in one state, and the idea of losing that job and kind of just looking could be a little scary. And also how serious you take the relationship, because although you may have strong feelings for someone, there's a leap you're taking.
Yeah.
Even if you're meeting in a neutral ground, like let's say, all right, let's pick a state and we move together, we start a life there. It's still.
Yeah. For me, I think is a big no. Like personally, because of the way I love and the way I like to be loved, like quality time and physical touch and like acts of service. How can you do acts of service for me from another state? Like,
I feel like people are going to like challenge that in the comments.
I don't know. I can't. But I feel like I can, let's say now, if you got like an opportunity and you had to go to London for like 6 months or a year, I feel like we're established enough where that would just be like something we get through together, and it wouldn't be that
but there's
much
also
of a big deal.
like a timer on it. There's also a deadline on
yes,
whatever. However,
exactly. It'll be 6 months, a year, whatever. I could deal with it, but to start a brand new relationship, like, it would be very difficult for me.
Yeah.
Unless we were able to like travel back and forth in the beginning and establish some ground rules. I don't know. I don't like to say never, but
well, it's gonna be never.
Well, it is gonna be never because I have my lovely husband. So would you have any advice for them? I guess that was the question. We're here giving our opinion.
Yeah, my biggest advice is just the communication, and just as far as what is acceptable for you, because I think although you may not like run through every scenario that may bother you, I think in the moment it needs to be communicated, because then if it happens again and again and again, it's gonna become a toxic relationship pretty quickly.
I wonder how difficult it is to establish trust while y'all separated by distance.
I guess you could make the argument that it's like the biggest form. And then once you're together, I don't know. Because
I just saw this TikTok story of this girl. She was dating a guy for like months. They went out, and then he had a business like in another state or something and was going to be there for a little while. So she went to surprise him and found his wife. So I'm like, the distance makes it so much easier for people who are like toxic as fuck and cheaters to like cheat.
Wives always ruining relationships.
And apparently the wife was like really like nice to her. She wasn't like, you fucking bitch, this is my man. She was just shocked and was like, well, this is my husband. And she had no idea. So yeah, I feel like it would scare me. Maybe that's just I'm like triggered because of, experiences I've had or seen other people have, or like
social media, even pop culture with television shows. Like it's hard to watch something on TV and then not kind of input yourself into it. Yeah. And that's with anything. I always use the example, like you go see a ninja movie, you come out karate kicking, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I guess my advice would be open communication, and then what's the plan? Which some people aren't planners, but I need to know, like, where is this going?
Yeah. And it also depends on your age.
And not necessarily like, okay, in 3 months I'm moving down, in 6 months we're going to get married, but more so like, are those things even on your radar? Like, do you even see that for your future? How flexible are you with moving, right? Because if neither of you are flexible, like if like my job is here and that's it, my job is here, that's it, then maybe you don't want to pursue it further. If one of you is like, you know what, if I end up having to move in 6 months or a year, like I'm totally okay with that. So having those conversations that may seem like heavy, especially for new relationships, but I think they're necessary.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll post some more Q&As on Instagram every once in a while just to get some questions.
Yeah.
You have a did you know for us?
I do. Did you know? Did you know women in Spain now have the right to 3 days of menstrual leave a month, with the option of extending it to 5 days if they experience painful periods?
Ooh, I love that. I remember I knew this one. I didn't know you were going to do it today, but I definitely heard of this news and I was like, that's amazing. I consider myself lucky. Like I don't have severely painful periods. I feel like a couple of times a year I may have like uncomfortable cramps. Like, okay, I need a day to like use a heating pad, take some Advil, but not as often. Some women deal with it monthly for days at a time. And I just think it's not fair that they don't have the days, or they have to use sick days. So if you get a cold, if you get a fever, if you get anything else and you use your sick days for your period, it's like not fair.
Do you see the United States getting on board?
I feel like maybe state by state, it'll become a little bit more progressive. I've noticed it depends on the company too, because some companies have just unlimited sick days. So I feel like it doesn't put that like microscope on the women, like, oh, you're using a period day. Like if you just have sick days that you could just use at your leisure.
I also think it kind of matters who you report to. Because like, let's say you're a woman and you report to a man, it could be a little uncomfortable to say, I need a day because I have a really painful period.
I feel like no matter your gender, no matter what, if you need a day, like we shouldn't have to over explain what we need a day for. Like we should just be like, I'm using my sick day. Yeah. That's it. Like it should just be an umbrella. And even like a lot of companies are encouraging like using a mental health day. But I know that it's still uncomfortable for employees to say like, I'm using a mental health day, because then you feel like uncomfortable.
It's definitely a lot of unprogramming that has to happen. Although we're moving in a more progressive era and people younger than us are advocating for themselves for these type of things, people like me who are a little older are still kind of thinking of the ways that my mom told me it was done. It's like, well, you better have a good excuse, or, jokingly said, my father used to be a correction officer. Every time he called out, he always said he had diarrhea for years, and he did 30 years, I think. Yeah.
Like we can't just say we need a day. It sucks. Like our culture is so like work, or like if you need a day, like that diminishes your work ethic, and I don't think that's fair. Yeah. We're human. Things come up. Like it's just life, especially if you have kids, and not even your kids being sick, but just like things that happen at school. Even when I was a teacher, it's like, okay, none of these teachers could go to their kids' school performances. And that's not fair. Like we're working for kids, for families. We're putting on shows for other families. But then when our kids have them, we can't take a day without like lying about a sickness, and using your days. And the more you use your days, it's also like a financial burden on you, right? It depends on your job. But as an educator, if you didn't use your days during retirement, you got paid out for those days. So if women have to use more days because of menstruation, that already shows like it's another like reason for like pay inequalities or net worth inequalities between men and women.
I'm trying to think of what the man pushback is going to be if this ever hit like New York, New Jersey.
I guess it'll be like, well, this is why women shouldn't work. Like that could be the argument, right?
I don't know if that extreme, but like
there's some people who feel that way.
Like any system, there is that fear of it being taken advantage of.
But anything and everything, I feel like we have to just be what's the word? Like see the good in people and assume that everyone's doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, there might be people abusing it, but the vast majority of people that are benefiting from it, like what are we going to do?
Definitely.
We can't take it away because of the quote unquote like bad apples.
Listen, and in my serious relationships, like you said, I've never seen someone like really have really bad period pains, but I have heard of it. Like it's like really almost
it's debilitating.
Yeah. So if it's that bad for you, then I think you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Or even like maternity leave. I was really grateful that I worked for a company that had paternity leave. I didn't do shit. Like I did my part in making the baby, but in terms of like what you had to do is like night and day, right? So I feel like if we get that, then it should be a no-brainer.
Absolutely. I think it's important. I think, honestly, the 5-day work week, the having 2 weeks off in a whole year, like all of that is just, it needs to be a thing of the past. Exactly. It made more sense when there was one parent at home all the time and it was only one person working and you can maintain a house with one income. But even then, it kind of is still too old school, right? Because let's say now I am home. I could do all the things with the kids, but I don't think that's the way we want to raise our kids, that they see me as the one who does everything for them and all you do is work, and that you have to miss all their appointments or anything at school. Like you want to be involved. Yeah. So I don't think it's even fair, even that in that scenario. And like, for example, let's say I am a stay-at-home mom, but I have terrible cramps and I have a horrible menstrual period. It would be nice if you could take a day to now fill in with the kids for me to like take care of myself. You know what I mean? In general, we need a little bit more flexibility in our jobs. And I feel like employees will work harder if they work for companies that respect their time. You know, like I know that when I need a day, I could take it. So when I'm home, when I'm at work,
I'm giving it my all.
I'm working my ass off and making sure I'm doing right by these people who do right by me. But yeah, that was a good did you know. You ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So these two subtopics are going to come from our Patreon. So we put on our tier, the top tier, right?
Yeah.
We put on a Google form and we allow people to submit topic ideas. So this first one is pretty light. It's pretty easy. It's pretty fun. And I know that you probably have felt the way about this. So it's interesting. Do you and your partner still make out? Is making out seen as childish or for youngins? Is a lack of making out a sign of a lack of intimacy, or is it just a thing that people don't do anymore after a certain age or after a certain point in their relationship?
I think people, I mean, even myself, as much as I do personally like making out.
I was going to say, you love making out.
But I think I view it as like a form of PDA, as childish.
Yeah, like making out too much in front of people.
Like me and you will like share a kiss, maybe even like a passionate in terms of length, but never like we're swapping spit or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I can see how that the older you get, that can become more childish. But what happens behind closed doors or in the comfort of your home, I feel like you should still be making out.
Yeah.
I personally like it. There were times early in our relationship where I complained that we didn't kiss enough outside of being intimate. Mm-hmm. And even during intimacy, I felt like we could have kissed more. Yeah.
But I honestly feel like making out is like foreplay, right? Because I feel like if we start making out...
Foreplay. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you thought I meant sex.
Yeah.
You were like so upset, ready to fight. It's like if we're making out, more like if it lasts more than like 10 15 seconds, it's like the assumption that like, all right, let's go real quick.
And I've noticed with you that sometimes you won't even kiss me long because you're like, hold on.
I know if I kiss him for like 5 more seconds, he's gonna think this is leading
I'm gonna
somewhere
blink
else.
and then he's gonna be naked.
Exactly. So I honestly think that maybe that impacts how often couples kiss, right? Like how much time do they have to extend that intimacy into, you know, more fun things.
Yeah. I mean, it also kind of brings me back to my childhood when like making out was like, that was like sex.
Yeah. That was like the most you did. So it was like.
Hopefully.
Yeah. You were like making out for hours.
So yeah, that was a form of, that was it back in the day. So it kind of brings you back to that childlike brain. Mm-hmm. I personally don't think I'll ever be too old for making out.
Yeah, no.
What was the original question? Are you ever?
Is it childish? Do people just stop after a certain point in their relationship?
I don't think you should stop.
Never like stop.
I don't think it's childish. I think, to my original point about it being as like PDA, I think is a little childish, or even like hickeys.
Oh yeah, no.
Hickeys. I mean, hickeys in general just trash in my opinion.
Yeah, and definitely childish because I feel like when the younger you, they're fun because you're just starting to like experience sexual things.
You want to hear how ignorant I was to hickeys?
Oh God.
So my first real girlfriend,
I'm scared.
She was in terms of skin tone a little darker than you. Mm-hmm. And there were times where we would make out and I would kiss and suck on her neck and nothing would happen. So in my mind, I'm like, my girlfriend's skin tone is dark enough that I could just do it forever and nothing will happen.
And one day you'll need.
First time she gets permission from her mom to come to my house.
Oh my God.
We're making out like we always do. And I'm on the neck, but there's no time restraint. And I get up and look and almost shit myself. I was shook because not only did I do this, but then like in an hour, her father was coming to pick her up. Oh. So we're scrambling because like, what are we going to do? I start Googling. I don't even know if it was Google at the time, Yahoo, whatever. And it's like, oh, use a comb, use a back of a spoon. We're doing all the things. Nothing's working. My sister-in-law or my brother's girlfriend was living with us at the time scramble through her makeup, but she's like super light skinned and my girlfriend's darker skin. And then by the time we do all that ice makeup, it just looked worse. It just so she got in I remember watching her get in the car, and then like literally like by the time they traveled home 15 minutes, my mom got a call.
Oh man.
Damn. So I learned my lesson about hickeys. I think that was like the first and last hickey I ever gave.
Terrible.
But
so I knew how to take away hickeys.
Oh God.
So you used to take a chapstick cap. You didn't see that one on Google?
You were taking away hickeys on yourself or other people?
But my friends, everybody. It was just a trick.
She was the hickey disappearer.
You take a chapstick cap and you kind of put it in the center and twist it. And somehow I think it like draws all the blood and it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Oh, where were you when
You didn't know me yet. For good reasons. So yeah, making out is still cool. Honestly, I think it increases arousal, right? Like if you need to get a little more wet or a little more hard, like making out increases arousal when necessary. I think many of us, especially in long-term relationships, like finding time for sex is difficult. So sometimes like making out is like the prerequisite. It's like foreplay and you're like, I don't got time for that. So I get why it can happen less often the longer you are with someone, but it's not childish. It's just equally as important. It's still fun, still feels great. So make out more in 2023.
This message is approved by Travis.
All right. The next one is a little bit longer. Is this the one I wanted to do? Oh, yeah, this is it. What boundaries should be held around talking about sex with friends? If it's a long-term partner, should things be kept more private? Should you really be telling the nasty details to your friends? Sex should not be taboo, but where do you draw the line of things being intimate just between you and your partner? So I'm going to stop there. There's more, but I'm going to stop there.
That first one was from an anonymous patron, right?
Yeah.
And this one is from...
I didn't put down who it was from.
I'm
let me check. This one was from Arica.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Thanks, Arica.
So where do you draw the line?
Mm-hmm.
So, as a man who's been a dirtbag at times, I feel like, okay, well, younger me, I feel like if I was talking to someone and let's say you sent me like a nasty text message and I was with my boy, like, yo, look at what Stephanie just sent me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
She wants to do this with my this and spin it like this. And then he'd be like, yo, that's crazy. Dap you up.
Yeah.
And shameful to say,
mm-hmm.
if it wasn't a serious relationship and let's say you like sent me a picture and I happen to be with someone.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't forward it. Never
Okay.
that. But if I was with someone, I'd be like, yo, crazy, right?
Look at this. Okay. All right. My friends have showed me dick pics of other guys.
But yeah, I would never forward that. That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I think once you get into like, now we're out that phase of just talking and we're in a serious relationship, just because I showed you Stephanie's titties.
I was about to say, that's where it gets crazy because now, what if your friends have seen my tits? No.
Well, they ain't seeing them no more.
Wait, we're talking hypothetically. Did I really ever send nudes like that?
Yeah.
In the beginning?
You did.
I did?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You did. You did.
Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
I sent them too.
I'm saying it's embarrassing that you probably showed your coworker my tits or something.
Yeah, but listen, we live in a world of like everything so sexual. Like no one's remembering tits.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, cool. At least they were cute. If I sent it, that means I approved they look good. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah. But now with that being said, you get into a serious relationship or that dating turns into like a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's where it stops.
Mm-hmm.
The conversations of what you're doing sexually or not doing. It's weird because like I will never give anyone details about our sex life, but I will kind of like maybe hint at it, right? So for example, the other day, my coworker likes to joke with me when I don't have lunch.
Oh, okay.
He's like, oh, so what'd your wife make today? I'm like, nothing. Oh, you see, he's not doing his thing. So the other day I brought lunch, and he goes, oh, Travis must have did his thing, and I was just like, I was like, yeah, I even surprised myself.
It's a little joke.
It's a little joke. I would never be like, no, he should have seen I did it. Like that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
And that's where it'll stop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my view on it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I talk about sex, but not too specific. And it depends on how close I am with the friends. Like, it's not out of the blue anymore. Like, it has to be, we're talking about sex or talking about an experience. And if I have something to say that's relatable, I'll say it. I think what I don't do is I'm not like a bragger. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, like this is, I don't know. Something about like protecting us. Cause I'm like, if I'm telling too many people how great you are in bed, it's like, they might get curious and I don't want no problems. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
So I try not to be like too specific. Like I feel like I've never talked about like your penis size or something like that. Like I think that's too personal. But yeah.
And embarrassing.
You're so stupid.
But I know on the flip side, your friends who are probably not in serious relationships who are sleeping around will kind of share their stories with you.
So then in those moments, I might say something like that's relatable. I'm like, you know what? I kind of might have experienced that. And honestly, for the past 8 years, all my sexual experiences are with you. So it's like, duh, I'm talking about you. So I'm open in that sense. Like, I'm not like 100% closed off to talking about it, but I think I do filter it a little bit so it's not too explicit.
Yeah. Just know if you see me with the limp.
A limp. So I'm going to continue the rest of this like inquiry. Women share pictures of themselves in lingerie to their friends. Is that something that should make their partners uncomfortable? How do you feel about that? Like if me and my friends are just sharing like pics.
I feel like you have definitely done that.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes you'll be like, oh, don't look at my phone. So-and-so just sent me this and that. That's, it wasn't meant for my eyes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it bothers me. Yeah. I know it's not something men do. It's just.
Why not?
It's viewed as like homosexual activities.
So how about this? What if like you have a friend that's like hitting it hard at the gym and they just like realize like they're comparing
a shirtless pic is different than like what women share. Like y'all will send a butt ass naked photo to each other and like, yes, queen.
It depends. Not all women do that.
But your group of friends will.
Yeah, I have friends who do that. Yeah.
I feel like for men, I think it's like as long as you're hiding the goods and you want to show some gym progress, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because you could have like some crazy thighs, calves, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have no problem with that. I feel like it was like, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I was gonna say like if it's like all the time.
Yeah. Then you might feel like they're bragging, maybe. Like it might get annoying. Like, all right, we get it. You're swole. Leave me alone.
Let me eat my Popeyes.
And then she also asks, like, what about nudes? I've never sent like a full nude to a friend, like on some, like in a text. I feel like since Instagram and like Snapchat, like I might do like a quick like video and then just send it to my friends on Instagram, which is scary because you might accidentally send it to somebody. But they have that unsend feature, which is cool. But yeah, I even had a whole lingerie party like last year, right? 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
When I was pregnant.
I remember I came at the end of it.
Yeah. So it's like whatever. Yeah, it was fun.
So what's the consensus here?
It says, do men do the same thing with their friends? I'm guessing not, due to common traits of masculinity, which we covered. What about the LGBTQ community? Are you sending these photos to friends first? That's
where it gets slippery.
In what sense?
In terms of like, let's say you had a lesbian friend. I don't think you used to.
What?
Like send photos of yourself to your lesbian friends. And I know you.
But what about that? I'm bisexual. So all my friends, they shouldn't send pictures to me.
I feel like I know you in terms of how you like, you close off your that part of you when it's someone you consider a friend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's not.
Like I can have 100% platonic friendships with women. I don't blur the lines. I feel like a couple of times when I first become friends with women, I might not be sure. Like I'm like, is she flirting with me or does she just think I'm cool? And I have to ask. But once I ask and it's like, no, we're just cool, I don't cross those lines because it's just creepy. But yeah, so what if I have a friend, even if they are a lesbian, if they're just my friend?
You know I wouldn't worry about you. I feel like I would be concerned about their intention. So,
but then anybody else could say that about me. Their partners could say that about me. Like, don't send Stephanie no pics. Her and Travis gonna try to recruit you.
Definitely heard that before.
You heard that?
We tried to recruit someone.
Oh, that did happen to us once. One of our friends, their partner got a little bit jealous.
And we're like,
it was like zero,
not even
intent there.
That's why you gotta be careful who you tell about your business.
Yeah. Well, we have a podcast, baby. Everybody knows.
Yeah, but before that, it was if you know, you know.
Yeah. That's true.
What I forget how we're ending this.
Just that.
Yeah, I mean, do I have a problem with it? No, I don't feel like. I feel like we're established enough. I could see it maybe being an issue in a newer relationship if you're not aware of like how your partner navigates those situations.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like for me, I'm very like, I'll post whatever I want. Like when I'm working out, like I flex in the mirror. I fucking twerk my ass.
I was like, your favorite move is to do the boomerang with the butt twerk.
Yeah, like so I do a little butt twerk and I boomerang and I post it in my public story. So I don't know. Does that bother you ever? You've never said anything, but
no. I mean, it doesn't bother me. No.
Do you sometimes feel it, but you're like, you know what? That's just who she is.
Maybe, yeah, if I'm being honest, but I not to the point where I feel like it's a discussion needed to happen. Like, I'm like, oh, and then I simmer down and like, all right, that's my dog.
And you know, like, sometimes some people will be like, this is your favorite move, and I'm like, you know what? I never asked Travis what he felt about it.
Yeah, it really doesn't bother me, but I would be lying if I said when I initially see it. If I just don't go.
It kind of is like a little stomach punch. Like, oh, shit.
And then I kind of check myself.
Okay.
But quickly check myself. I don't, the whole interaction from seeing it to going back to normal, 30 seconds is a lot.
Okay. It's awkward. This is like an awkward conversation to have. Like,
what about me when I post my thirst traps?
You don't post any thirst traps. I kind of wish you would.
Or like a selfie? Whenever, because I don't post a lot of, like, I feel like I don't post a lot in general, but when I do you ever think to yourself, like, this motherfucker's trying to get attention?
No, I wonder, like, what girls, I'm 100% sure anybody, like, there's probably people that follow me that are attracted to me in that way, and there's people who follow you that are attracted to you in that way. So I feel like sometimes I'm just curious about, like, what other women think of you, but not in a jealous way, just out of a curiosity way.
Remember that coworker you had?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had several like friends, coworkers, associates.
Well, there was this one in particular that kind of said something, not crazy, but it was just like, yo, Travis, your husband?
Like, no offense, Stephanie, like, I love you, but like, he is so hot. And I'm like, I know. Yeah, see, like that. Like, I kind of want to know. Like, I'm curious. I would hope that just who we are, bitches ain't trying it. Like, I post my little thirst traps and nobody's in my DMs. Like, It's like they know me and they, respect our relationship. So I am hoping that there's no bitches in your DMs thinking they could try it. But I am curious about like the ones who be like, damn, he look good. That's a cute ass pic.
Yeah. No one tries me, but I do think you have to like think about the new social media rules. You know how we talked about.
Oh yeah.
You post something in your story and now you have like hearts, and now you have to be even careful with sending hearts to the wrong thing. And I'm not talking about reacting with like heart eyes. Now you can actually like a story.
Like the little like, and I do them all the time just because I see it like a regular like, but I just realize it's private. And you know how some people can't like things because their partner doesn't let them like. I literally have no idea what Travis likes. I don't give a shit if he likes bikini pics. Like, I don't even know what you like. But some people are limited on the things they can like publicly. So that's like a sneaky way to do it. But I guess since that's not an issue for me, I never realized. But now I'm like, shit, if I like a guy's story, he might create a false narrative to his friends that I'm trying to flirt with him or that I like him.
Stephanie, the one with the podcast, always like.
Yeah, she got a podcast with her husband and she probably likes me. So now we got to be careful. Like, people see those likes and stories as more than what they are. So we got to slow down. I got to slow down with the likes.
This funny meme is like, I look through my man's phone and I'm disappointed because he gets no bitches.
That's funny. But yeah, that's something we got to pay attention to. How we like, don't like. We haven't also y'all can relate, and you're gonna read it, and I called it the right name.
Yeah.
But before we do that, please join us on Patreon.
Patreon.com/we still like each other.
Yes, it's a way to just donate to this podcast. We do not get paid for it. We put our time, our equipment. So if you just want to say thank you with $3, $7, or $12 a month, you can through Patreon. If not, we also have merch on we still like each other.com. What do we have available right now?
We have the I love you and I like you long sleeve. We have we changed
the sticker packs.
The sticker pack.
And we have a few of our original drop shirts still available as well, right?
Yep.
Latte love and no gray area. So yeah, support us in those ways. Like this video, give us a 5-star review.
On your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, and if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We love the comments. I love to know what you all think. Even that person that thought we were fighting last week, I appreciate that you took the time to let us know, because it's important. It's important to know, and you're not the only person that had that view, so it's cool. And we discussed it even further on Patreon, so you could check out that conversation in our interactive recap.
Yeah, on Patreon, twice a month. We have like a live episode through Zoom, so you can interact with us. You can turn your camera on. You could turn your microphone on, type questions. It's a lot of fun. It's like a little date night for us.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Yeah, so join us. All right, you ready for Also Y'all Can Relate?
Yes. Here we go. Hey, guys. Been meaning to share my story and have been curious to know you guys' thoughts. Let's get into it. So I've been dating this guy on and off for 8 to 9 years, dating/non-committed.
Okay.
I've had a lot of experiences with this man. He was there when I was in college and dealing with a lot of home issues. He was the first man outside of my father that I felt took care of me, provided me with what I needed, took me to different places and experiences, and just doing things that I never experienced in a relationship before. To be clear, we were talking to each other exclusively for the most part. We both did our own thing at one point, had sex with different people outside of each other. Overall, we spent so much time together. He has been the most consistent man in my life.
Okay.
I don't want to diminish the things he has done for me, takes care of me when I'm sick, and is supportive in some sense.
Oh, it seems like she's like, in a way, being honest about the commitment or non-commitment of the relationship, but she's also really doing a lot to defend him. And like, he was inconsistent, but he was such a good person. And I feel like we, like, even away from this situation, right? Like when we talk about our parents and like maybe things they could have done better, it's so hard. We're always like, but they did this, like they were so good in these ways. And we have to allow ourselves to be honest about people and the ways they failed us without feeling like we're being mean or we're negating the good things that they did.
Really quick, we have a friend who there's someone they were seeing and they shouldn't be seeing them anymore, and they're kind of talking about them, but in the way that they're saying it, it's coming off as like they're defending that person. Me and you are looking at them like, no, this person is no good for you, and you need to say that out loud, because all this defense is only gonna have you slowly creep back to them or kind of still be stuck on them. So I think it's important to like be very clear of like what your situation was or is.
Absolutely.
What do you think about 8 to 9 years of being dated / non-committed?
Honestly, it's a lot. It's something I couldn't see myself in, but I also feel like, especially in your 20s, right? For example, you were with someone for 6-7 years?
Yeah.
And y'all were committed but y'all were both cheating on each other. There was a lot of heartbreak. I feel like I would prefer the honest one where they're like, you know what? It's not the time for this. Like, I could be there. I could be that. And all the good things she mentioned, like, you know, the person who took care of her and all these good things. But while being honest about the fact that he couldn't be in a committed relationship. Like, I honestly respect that more. Yeah. Now, I don't want that to continue. I don't want you to go into your 30s and 40s and you're still in this situationship with someone. But I'm not 100% against it.
Same. All right. Anyways, fast forward. I had a conversation with him around October about wanting to start dating other people since it didn't seem like we were getting anywhere.
Okay. So she kind of, she was reaching her limit of like putting up with this situationship.
Yeah. And I respect that she went to him immediately instead of like maybe just starting to date someone and then kind of having to drop him.
Okay.
He was hurt, but was okay with it because he knew his limits.
I wonder if she was hoping he was like, no, let's be together. Like,
but is that what you would want a relationship to start off of? Like almost like threatening?
Like an ultimatum? Yeah, sometimes, yeah. If you really love someone and you're like, you know what, I'm going to give them this ultimatum.
Our favorite Netflix show.
It was all right. I didn't really love it that much. That was the one
where they swapped couples?
They swapped couples. I liked it, but it's not my favorite Netflix show.
It was good though. It was good.
Like, spicy. I like, what's the one we recently watched? Perfect Match is good. Love is Blind is better than that show. Love Island. Yeah. Ultimatum was like one of the
mid ones,
yeah.
All right. He was hurt, but he was okay with it because he knew his limits. I started dating, and lo and behold, I talked to this man who was all for me, looked at me with love and care, and wants to do all the things that come with the relationship.
Ooh.
In December, him and I went to Vermont and had a little getaway. It was a great time. By that time, I was still talking to the other guy, and we also eventually ended up going to a getaway for a night. I read that right?
Yeah.
So she started dating someone who's giving her pretty much everything she wants.
But she didn't 100% cut off the other guy.
So she went on 2 getaways within like a couple weeks.
Yeah. Listen, city girls up 1.
I don't think that's fair.
It depends who paid it.
I don't think that's fair to the new guy because he's the only one on the out.
Does he know?
I'm pretty sure he's the only one on the outside of the situation because the guy who's been around knows the deal. And even more so because she came to him and said, I want to start dating. So I don't think that's fair to him.
That's true.
Vermont getaway, great time. By that time, I was still talking to the guy. Okay. We connected and he began to be more close to me and started doing the things I wanted from him.
Oh, so the old guy's now trying to come around because somebody new is doing it. Oh my God. Men are so predictable.
Few weeks after, I tried ending things with him to pursue things with the new guy. We stopped talking, then talked again. A lot of back and forth. Even in the past, when we broke things off, we get back together again. So it kind of happened again.
Oh,
so they have a whole history of just breaking up, getting back together, not breaking up, stop talking, disconnecting, reconnecting. That's their thing.
Okay. Toxic.
That's their kink. At this point, I was confused and wasn't sure what to do. So I decided to take a step back from both. A few weeks later, I was admitted to the hospital due to some chest pain. And bam, found out I was pregnant.
No. Fuck my life. Okay.
Any thoughts before I continue?
Listen, I'm a mom of 2. I just feel like we need to really do better at our reproductive health and not having unplanned pregnancies. It's hard and like sex is amazing and sometimes like your instincts are like make a baby in me. Like I get it, but we need to do a little better at like planning them. There was something I wanted to share before that I forgot. Oh, it was like a conversation on Instagram about like, oh, it's whatever works for you and it's okay. And like one of the comments was like, oh yeah, people keep getting on us about like why we don't get married, but that's a big like commitment, but they have a kid. So I'm like, a kid is a big commitment. I think bigger than marriage. So it's like, why are we so easily able to like make children, but we're not able to commit? Like, why is committing to another adult harder than just having a child?
I don't have the answer, but I will say, as someone who's done both, I have gotten married and I have brought life into this world. Bringing life is way harder and more of a commitment.
And it's
you could get a divorce.
Yeah,
you're gonna be stuck with that mother or father for the rest of your life, or there's gonna have to be, if you're at least a active parent, there's gonna be some form of communication for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. This whole new, and especially nowadays, this whole, oh, my kid's 18, best of luck to them, that shit don't exist no more.
And even younger kids, right? Like if Travis and I get into an argument, like one of us has to realize who was wrong in it and be logical about the situation, right? With kids, there's no fucking logic. And then it's like, even if they disrespect you or say something horrible, you're their parent. So now you got to say like, where did I fuck up? You know, like it's your responsibility to help them mold into decent human beings. It's like such a huge commitment. So my only with it is like, shit, if you're not ready to commit to either of these people, allowing yourself to get pregnant, like I just wish she waited. But again, I'm a mother of 2. I love my babies and I feel like everything happens for a reason. So this was meant to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
All right. And bam, found out I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. It's the new guy's kid.
Okay. At least he's the guy who actually wants to be with her.
I did not see that coming.
Okay. At least it's the guy who actually wants to be with her.
My question is, how does she know?
What do you mean how she knows? She knows. She calculated the days. It must have, if she's saying it's the new guy, she knows.
Yeah, maybe like one was protected, one wasn't, or
and
something. And
you also, it probably wasn't as close together. And there's an app, like you know when you're ovulating, so she must know.
Yeah. Or it was like when he said, I want to put a baby in you.
She was like, yes.
All right. I ended up telling the other guy about it and we decided to end things officially.
Okay.
So she told the old guy, I'm pregnant with the new guy.
The new guy, yeah.
Whew. He tried to say that he saw a future with me and all these things I've never heard before, which is super confusing and feels manipulative.
So now that she's pregnant by someone else, he suddenly is like,
I see the light.
I wanted a future with you, even though she wanted a future with him and he wasn't ready. That's gaslighting. You were going to say it?
I was going to say my least favorite word in the world.
Gaslighting. Yep. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
After that convo, we cut ties. I guess I feel a little dumb because now I get the things I wanted from him, but now I'm having a child with a different man. The new guy is a good man.
I feel like that's what he wants. He wants her to feel stupid. Like, you see, if you would have just waited a little bit more.
I was almost
ready to be everything.
I was just at Zales the other day looking at rings. You dumb.
But you got pregnant. It's on you now. It's your fault. Don't feel that way. Don't feel dumb. He was never going to be ready, at least not now. I feel like maybe this is pushing him to see like, shit, maybe I should have been. And maybe now he's having regrets. But it's not like you fucked up right as he was almost ready. Like, no, that's bullshit.
You should be like, if you really see the light now, like you should just help me raise this baby.
Like, honestly, like if he really wants her, he shouldn't let no baby get in the way of that.
You gonna let this belly come between us?
You gonna let this baby? Because honestly, they could still be together. It's awkward. People gonna talk shit and it's gonna be like weird. But so what? Like we met when Eli was 1. We met when Eli was 4 months, and then we started dating when Eli was 1. Like, what if I was 5 months pregnant and you were the love of my life? You would have just told me no.
I feel like the Travis now would definitely be more open to it. I feel like I was still young-minded. That would have been a hard pill to swallow.
It would have been hard. But my point is, they've also been dating for 8-9 years. So maybe if you realize this is who I'm meant to be with, you as the man could be like, you know what? I allowed her to go out because I was trying to be fucking around and I wasn't ready to commit. So take it as like a lesson for you too. I don't know. I feel like if he honestly wanted to be with her, then he should have.
Yeah. I guess I feel a little dumb because I get the things I wanted from him, but now I'm having a child with a different man. Mm-hmm. The new guy is a good man. He has been there and is adamant on being an active father.
Okay.
It's been a crazy ride, and I wasn't sure if I was keeping it, but I am.
Okay.
I guess I'm here because I've always wanted to know you guys' opinion. Part of me feels guilty and a low-key stereotype. Although I have a master's and my own place, can't help but feeling like a dumb 16-year-old who fucked up and is now having a kid with someone I'm not sure about. Anyways, I'm looking forward to your thoughts.
Yeah, I can see that. How even if you have it all together, like getting pregnant, like having an unplanned pregnancy feels like I fucked up. Don't feel dumb. I feel like everything happens for a reason. I'm glad she chose to like have her baby.
Because she wanted to.
Because she wants to, yeah. Because she could have easily been like to the old guy, like, all right, I'll have an abortion if we could be together. You know?
Yeah.
And she didn't. So I don't think she should feel dumb.
I will say that although the old guy is kind of like giving you everything you want right now, realize that it's coming from a place of like jealousy and ego. The things you said about the new guy, I feel like there's potential there. And the only thing lacking for you is that the time. You don't have as much time as invested.
And also it's that she's still not over the old guy. I feel like it's going to be hard for her to like really invest and allow herself to be loved by this new guy who seems great if she's still hung up on her ex.
And we use the word ex loosely.
Because is he really her ex?
Yeah.
His situationship. But you know what I mean? The other guy. I don't think she's dumb. I think she also shouldn't feel forced to be with either of them. Like even the guy, even the baby daddy. Like if you genuinely don't feel like he's your person, don't feel like you have to because you're having a kid. If he's a good man, he'll still be a dad. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it sounds like you said, like at the end, you have your shit together. So don't worry about like what the
optics are.
The optics of the situation is like, are you happy? Are you happy with the decision you made? And if you do decide to be with any of these men, just make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. And not because one, you could go with the new guy because who doesn't want their child to be raised by both parents? But is that what's going to make you really happy? You could go with the old guy, but is he worth your time? Is he respecting you? Is this someone you would want your future child to look up to? Because if he's going to be in your life, he's going to play some type of father figure role, whether it's a stepfather or whatever the case is. Is this someone you would be proud to have around your child?
Any man going forward in your life is a potential going to play a role in your child's life.
So there's a lot to weigh there. And like Stephanie said, you could go the third route, which is I don't need anybody. Let me focus on myself and my child.
Absolutely. And focus on pregnancy and postpartum. There's a lot of changes coming your way. Educate yourself on what to expect physically, mentally, emotionally. There's this book called Crib Sheet that I kind of mentioned many episodes ago that I think is really good. Yeah, like I just learned after I already had stopped breastfeeding for a couple of months, and I learned that when you stop breastfeeding, it impacts your hormones, and you could feel like depressed and sad. I'm like, I had no idea. And I stopped breastfeeding 2 months ago. Like, I wish I would have known that. So prepare for those things because there's so much information out there that we are unaware of. I feel like prenatal care is really good. Like when you have all these checkups during pregnancy, but then once you have the baby, they check you at 6 weeks and that's it. There's no continual checks on the mom and how she's doing. So get ready for that, to take care of yourself and figure out your needs. Advocate for yourself when you need it. And fuck these niggas. How you feel, baby?
No, I feel good. I feel like there's some great advice and wishing you nothing but the best on this journey. Yes. Because pregnancy is beautiful.
I hope it's a boy.
You're a boy mom?
A boy mom. Team boy.
I'm team healthy.
Yeah, team healthy. It's true. Whatever it is.
All right, baby. Do you still like me?
I still like you. Do you still like me?
I do. Did we fight this week? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
It was cool?
It was cool. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We don't have a handshake.
Okay. All right. Peace.
We need one.
Peace, y'all.